Multiplying complex numbers. Alright, let's dive into this. Once again, just to review, imaginary numbers are numbers that include I, and complex numbers are expressions with real numbers and imaginary numbers. Alright. Some helpful hints. Once again, I squared equals -1. That's important to know. And I cubed is equal to -I. Now, if you're not sure why this is, I cubed is the same as I squared times I. And I know that I squared is -1, so it's from this over here. So we're going to take I squared, which is -1, times it by I. -1 times I is the same as just -I. Now over here, just in case you're wondering why, remember I is the square root of -1. So if I take the square root of -1 and square it, all that happens is your square and your square root cancel each other out, and you're just left with the -1. Alright, so let's do some multiplying. We got 8I times 4I. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 8 times 4, which is 32, and I times I is I squared. And now remember what I squared equals, though? If we come back here, I squared is -1. So instead of having 32I squared, it's the same thing as 32 times -1, which is the same thing as -32. Okay? Alright, here we have three numbers. Let's just times the first two numbers together first. So 5I times -I. Well, 5 times -1 is -I, or -5, sorry. And then I times I is I squared. Okay. We times those first two numbers, and then we're going to multiply that by the third number right here. So -5 times -8 is 40. And then I squared times I is I cubed. And I cubed is just the same thing as -I. So basically what happens is we're going to put -40I. Because two of these i's is what form the negative. And you have one I left of the three that you have to keep there. So my answer would be -40 times I, or -40I. Alright, now we have one where we are going to distribute. So we're going to take this -5I, and we're going to times it to the -4. So -5 times 4 is 20I, so we have the 5I. And now -5I times -2I, -5 times -2 is a positive 10. And I times I is an I squared. And what happens to the I squared? Remember, that's just like a -1. So this is basically 10 times -1, which turns this into a -10. So I get 20I minus 10, but to write it properly, we should write the real number first, and then the imaginary number. So we get -10 plus 20I. Alright, now we have one where it's going to be a double distribution. So we're going to do 8 times 7 is 56. Distribute your 8 to your -3I, and you get -24I. Okay, now let's distribute the 4I times 7. That is 28I, so I'm just going to line it up with this I to remind myself I'm going to combine these. And then we have 4I times -3I, which gives me a -12I squared. Alright, but remember, I squared is a negative, so -12I squared is just like -12 times -1, so this really turns into a positive 12. Okay, so I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to put the plus 12 over here underneath the 56 to remind myself that's what I need to combine. So 56 plus 12 is 68. And -24 plus 28I is positive 4I. And there is my answer. Okay? Alright, so let's do this one. 3 plus 2I squared. This isn't saying go ahead and just square both of these. This is actually taking this complex number, 3 plus 2I, and you need to multiply it by itself. So that's 3 plus 2I times 3 plus 2I. And it turns into a double distribution. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2i is 6i. Okay, now this 2i times 3, sorry, I should use a different color there. 2 times 3i, that is 6i. I'm going to line it up with this. And then 2i times 2i is 4i squared. But remember, the 4i squared is the same thing as negative 4. So I'm going to take this negative 4. Oh, it's not going to let me just take the negative 4. Anyway, so the negative 4, I'm going to take it and bring it over here to line it up with the 9, just so I know that's what I'm putting together. So 9 minus 4 is 5, and 6i plus 6i is 12i. Circle that, and there's your answer. And that's how we multiply complex numbers. If you have any questions, please email me and let me know.